4 goals, 4 strikes from open play, 4 goals away from the final. Liverpool 4, Galatasaray 0. Big up all the YouTube crew, everyone looking back at the pod on the podcast. Any of your choice, give us a 5-star rating, hit that notification bell. But before we get into business, let's welcome the return of Mr. Sandwich
Evening.
and JSS.
Greetings.
Greetings and hello. Liverpool went into the return leg of their last 16 clash against Galatasaray. 1 goal down. We're feeling a bit tetchy, bit anxious maybe because the Reds not been playing too well. But needn't have feared anything, guys, because they just wiped the floor with them. And was that not, JSS, something special to behold?
Yes, it was. It was one of the best performances we had in a while. I'll leave it at that. And it was a relief actually, because the first half, we were missing chances. A missed penalty as well, which it can happen, but you pick your moments and whatever. So there's that. So you're thinking, oh, here we go again, missing our chances, and they're probably going to get one on the break, as always happens, probably in the last 15 minutes, and then we're scrambling, whatever. But it wasn't to be, because in the second half we just turned up and like bam, 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 bam. It's like Mike Tyson, 1988, just like a barrage of punches, one after the other, unstoppable. And dare I say, Mo Salah, life in the old dog yet.
We've frequently spoken about our wonderful Egyptian, not always in glowing terms in recent times, but I gotta say, he kept going. He missed a penalty in the first half, didn't he, Mr. Sandwich? But that second half display, talk about it. Come on.
The Liverpool performance, right, overall?
Yes.
Because we're going to say Salah for the Salah section, about 2/3 in.
I mean, if you want to get straight to the Salah section, there's no rules, not in a
Go on, get to it.
No. It was a good performance, and it's one of those where when we're really flying, we take for granted, because this is actually what we can do to teams and we can do to poor teams. I think they say Galatasaray, their away form is absolutely atrocious. And you can tell, because actually at home, the stadium's on top of you, the crowd, all of that. And I think, we knew they were coming into this. I think they knew as well. They're like, what, that 1-0 was all they needed to hang on to. So we played a very, very poor team. But we did what we should be doing against poor teams. And that is the problem this year. We haven't been doing that against poor teams. We didn't do it against our poor team literally 4 days ago. So it was a relief to actually get a performance where you're like, actually, if anything, the performance flattered them. When was the last time any time this season where the result actually is not reflective of the performance and the domination? So all smiles. I'm happy we did the job. And we'll get into it. But right. I am happy. I want to start there.
No doubt. That's a great place to start. It was 4-0 in the end. Dominic Szoboszlai was interviewed after the match on TNT. Said it could have been 10. Whenever people say that, I'm like, no, it could never be 10. It never is. But it easily could have been 7 or 8. Right? It was a comfortable slap in. Now, JSS, please explain to me why we had such a stark difference in performance between what we saw today and on Sunday, which was completely abject. And that's not for me to be negative. It's just I need to understand, how could they be so Jekyll and Hyde? What fueled what we saw tonight versus the turgid nonsense of the weekend?
I think not only with Liverpool, but you see it with other teams as well. When they reach rock bottom and like they're getting pilloried, and they've got nowhere to go, you see the players give the extra. So I think Sunday was a new low, this season. And therefore a lot of people were tuning in, not just Liverpool fans. I've heard a few Liverpool fans thinking this not that they want us to lose, but the benefit of losing, if there is one, is that it will hasten Slot's departure. That's what they had in their head anyway. There's no proof of that, but that was a discourse. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. I can't get behind it, but I know
exactly. Neither can I, but it is what it is, right? Those people exist. or should I say, those viewpoints exist. We don't mind the people existing, but the viewpoints. Yeah. So I have to get clarified. Yeah. So I think that's the difference. So I wasn't expecting a reaction. I was just hoping the reaction came today and not maybe on the weekend. Um, so that's probably what it is. It's just there's no rhyme or reason. You just see that the criticism hurt them, and it's almost like it's last chance saloon. They was almost had nothing to lose, really, because like if we went out, if we went out, it wouldn't be a surprise to anyone if we're being honest. It'd be disappointing, but none of us would be surprised if we gone out today. Do you know what I mean?
I would have been very surprised if we'd gone out, and I also take the opposite view to you when you say you got nothing to lose, and I think Arne Slot did as well. If you saw how hyped up that guy was for the first 20 minutes, I was like, this guy's on it. The players are on it, and there was lots of endeavour, but they weren't clicking. I was worried. I was really worried they wouldn't get the goals they needed, but I was 100% pleased with the application, which to me reflected that they absolutely took this seriously, and there was a lot to lose for them there.
Okay, when I say nothing to lose, maybe that's a poor phrase. It's almost like when your back's against the door and you have no choice but to come out swinging. You know what I mean? There was nowhere to hide, as it were. You just kind of had to do it. You see what I'm saying? And I think it's almost like I'm not too sure if some of the players or Slot, but maybe as a group they were playing for their futures. That's kind of what it seemed to me. It had an end of days kind of feeling to it. And they came up. But the thing is, without putting a down on it, obviously people are going to say, "Oh, why don't we see this every week?" We're not going to see this every week. Yeah. In the next couple of games, we're going to see another stinker. I'm going to come back in, and I think we just kind of have to understand until summer. This is what we're going to see. Some good games here, a few bad games here. We just have to hope that they're not too damaging.
How many league games have you got left? 8?
Too many.
Whatever the number is.
Listeners and viewers, I've got to tell you, JSS historically, and I've known for a long time, is the most positive Reds fan I've ever come across. And he's not looking forward to I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the games. You know why? Because there's lots of pressure behind them, and I think the players have to respond to it. And now we're at that point where there's no pissing about. There can be no more Spurs performances. I'm fairly confident, even if we don't get the results, we will see a step up. I'm hopeful at the very least to think that this is a trigger for what may follow.
How many times?
He's shaking his head like I'm talking like a madman. Why do you not agree with me, Mr.?
Because before you just go, I just want to say this is a rhetorical question. How many times have you said that this season, Samaj?
Precisely.
There you go.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, let me answer the question.
It was a rhetorical question, Samaj. No, go for it.
I've said it many times, but I think it's just because we're in that final stretch. Mentally, you have to lock in, and we are Liverpool. You said that yourself. We are Liverpool. So you can't be sleepwalking through the final stretch. I just don't think. Even if right, they are a bit unlucky with performances, or they happen not to get the results that their performances deserve. I think they'll give it everything. I'm confident of that much.
I don't want to put a downer on tonight. I really, really don't. But tonight is an isolation because one, we're not going to play like we did. We actually pressed today. We pressed from the front. We were all over them. We've not been doing that all season. Galatasaray were poor. Like Wolves, who are 20th in the Premier League, much better than that. West Ham, who were 18th in the Premier League and actually caused us some trouble, better than that. We're not going to play Galatasaray in the league. We don't have that. Because when we've done it against the poor teams in the league, we also haven't done that. So that's the only thing I want to put caution. And I agree with JSS. We had the Frankfurt game and next game out the window. West Ham was 3 weeks ago, and then we literally lost to Wolves on the Tuesday. So, I'm taking it in isolation. Now, the positive for me is that if we can use this mentality in the cup games where it is do or die, it's backs against the wall where they're like, no, if we lose today, we're out of this competition. Whereas the Premier League, we're not going to win it. And I think they're still looking at the table and looking and saying, well, Chelsea and Villa and Man, they're not all winning all the time. So I think there is a mentality thing there where it's not last chance saloon. If we're on the final day and we need to win 3-0, I think we've got Brentford on last day. Yeah, then they're going to step it up then as well. And I think that's been the problem of this season. So I'm going to put a bit of water on the temperature. We're going to enjoy tonight. We're going to enjoy the cup games because Man City, straight after the international break, we're going to come on to that, of course, in this pod and next one. And PSG, they're going to be up for it. But this does not mean we're going to beat Crystal Palace in mid-April. It doesn't mean we're going to beat Brighton on Saturday. So that's the thing, and that's the frustration about this Liverpool team this season, because we've seen what they can do. We beat Real Madrid. Mr. Drew, we were there. Frankfurt, we went away, had a great performance, had a performance today, and literally 3 days later, we'll then wet the bed, as it were. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I am astounded by how you both planted a big fat pin in my enthusiasm balloon. But I will say this.
Sorry.
What I saw from the players in terms of their reaction immediately after the final whistle on Sunday taught me a lot. And I thought to myself, these guys did not expect this. They didn't think they could get to these depths. And I think you may see it go one of two ways. Let's see what happens next match. If it's a good performance, which we got, okay, albeit against Paul side, it gives me optimism. I think sometimes you just need a big punch in the face to let you understand the reality of what's at risk. And these final games are absolutely do or die. They should be thinking that way.
They should be. They should be. Agree on that.
Jake, come in.
I think the fact that you're looking at game to game says it all. You're looking, a reaction. There's no, we can go on a run here. You can't even say those words and with a straight face because you know we can't go on a run. Do you see what I'm saying? The best run we've had was that 13-game unbeaten run, which is the worst unbeaten run in the history of football.
The worst unbeaten, all the draws.
Basically, yeah. So if you said to
agree.
me, we're gonna go on a run up, we're gonna run up like in the clock days, we'll have a bad patch, fine, we'll go on and run, we'll win, 8 out of 10 games, we're back on it. You can't see that here.
I don't necessarily think a run of wins, right? But a run of matches where they're putting in maximum application and they're getting their shit together, which should yield a good, say, how many games? 8 games left?
Samaj, you're hearing this, yeah?
A good 5 wins.
Samaj, you're hearing this, yeah? You're hearing it. As long as it's not just me hearing it. All right, cool.
I'm with you tonight. I am with you tonight.
If you guys don't think we can get 5 wins out of 8, I don't know what to say. But if we can do that, that's going to be enough. But listen. Let's come back to the Premier League in a bit. Okay. Let's get to this match. We haven't spoken about any of the goals.
Okay, goals. Fair enough.
So let's talk about the first goal. In the first half, it was our player of the season, Double S. It was another blockbuster. And it was inevitable, wasn't it, that he was going to be the one to light the touch paper.
It's like we need him. We'll park the title one for a minute. But this season, right? If we're going to do something in any match, it starts at the Szoboszlai. If Szoboszlai is not on it, we're finished. Do you see what I'm saying? Even when he is on it, we're still sometimes finished. Man City game, for example. Yeah. So when I saw him, I thought, okay, fine, bam, it's cool. Great goal, great corner. And see, we may not score many goals from corners like Arsenal. But we almost since we've got rid of our set piece coach, we have been quite effective in corners in different ways without fouling people in the box. I'm just saying, just some props. And we were our corner routines. I think we even hit the post and stuff. We actually did quite well. Yeah. So that was a great finish. Need to see more of those.
It felt to me like it took a bit.
At the right time.
Yeah,
get the nerve, settle the nerves.
Yeah, I was very nervous because, as I say, I love the application of the team, right? And I love the fact that they were pressing and pushing and being proactive, trying to take the initiative, which I need to do because they were a goal down. But all the same, I loved the application, but it still felt very disjointed when it got to the final third. and I think it needed something slightly speculative or out of the blue. And it's really good we've got a bolt from the blue player that we can rely on at the moment. And Mr. Sandwich, I'm going to come to you because that first half, even though we did perform well, again, I felt like once they got to the final third, they were a bit tentative. And I had a bit of anxiety even before Mo Salah missed that penalty. How did you feel about their overall performance in those first 45 minutes or so?
Yeah, I was starting to get flashbacks of Atletico Madrid 2020? 2020, yeah, right before COVID.
Yeah,
there's an outbreak on the loose.
Super spreader.
There's exactly. There's a super spreader event.
Did you
the weather suddenly really good in March, and then we play a game at Anfield, and just no away. I think no, they were away fans, but yeah. Anyway, I agree because it was this game. This game. That's why I'm so hyped because I'm just like. We saw the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good thing is we didn't concede because I think that's probably how poor Galatasaray were. But that first half, they were time wasting. They were up to all their antics, and the crowd did their part, and the players were getting into it. But we were wasting chances. We weren't having just quite that final ball, that lethal touch. We have improved on our set pieces, so it's not that it was fortunate, but we needed something like that. Because our build-up play was still just half a pace off, and because they were still in the game, they were defending for their lives, and they knew that when the ball comes out, they can just try and slow the game down as much. So I do think we were kind of playing into their hands a little bit because they knew what to expect, and we kind of played how I think the first half we played exactly how they thought we would, and we'll come on to like Osimhen's injury and what that impact was on the second half, but I think first half. 1-0, like I said, right before the penalty. I think they'd have been like, you know what, we've weathered the storm. It's only 1-0 because we had started to rack up the shots, but we didn't really test the keeper either. So, yeah, that first half, that was typical Liverpool. That was, okay, yeah, we're playing a team we're better than, but we just don't have that lethal punch, that final bit. And, the goal was fortunate. The penalty, I mean, we'll come, I'll save it for the Salah section, but that also summed him up as well.
All right,
in addition, can I just say something? Also, I'll let you go for it.
Yeah, let me stick with Sam for a second, just because he mentioned Victor Osimhen. That injury came before the first goal, I believe, and it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because everyone could see, like he went down, he went off, got some treatment, he had some kind of cast spot on his arm, and then came back on. Yeah. And it was obvious he wasn't moving, he wasn't with it, he wasn't contributing to any of the forward play, and very immobile, and nothing was connecting because he was just in pain. Why do you think they kept him on the pitch? And wasn't that like a bit of a boost for us?
Yeah, it worked. It worked for us. That was the sliding doors moment. If Osimhen comes out for the second half, I think it's slightly different. We get 2 goals, so we'll come to the second half in a second. But this is the kind of thing we've always heard about Osimhen, and he kind of embodies that player power thing, and it's his way or the highway. How he left Napoli, how he wanted this much from Man United, all of these kind of things. We're seeing him tell the manager, "No, I'm not coming off." Victor Osimhen's obviously the highest earner at Galatasaray, maybe even in the whole Turkish league. I think it's quite difficult for him, the manager, to sub him off unless he's not able to walk. And he was walking, so at that point, Osimhen's clearly saying, "No, don't sub me." And I think the manager, to his credit,
about all he was doing, right?
That's all he was doing. That's all he was doing. But I think the manager, to his credit, said, "Look, I'm not going to fight you in the 34th minute to try and drag you off the pitch. At halftime, we're just going to make the sub. we can just do it at halftime." But you're right. That definitely, it was a sliding doors moment. Their tactics were working. The whole breaking up the play, all that kind of stuff, that was working. And you just know they have the threat because a fit Osimhen only needs one chance. He doesn't need 90 good minutes. He needs one chance. He could bury it. So that was definitely a changing, definitely, like I say, a sliding doors moment of the first half, which the cherry on top would have been the penalty because of all the time wasting. I mean, it should have been more than 5 minutes, but it would have felt like justice getting a second goal in all of that at a time. That would have been a real sucker punch for them. So I think they were fortunate to only go in 1 down, but Osimhen's last 15 minutes and having to take them off, I think that totally threw off their game.
Yeah. So Joe, there was that, and then there's also the fact that Galatasaray had no fans in the stadium. So how much do you think that hurt them in terms of their impetus and their morale, their belief that they could try and do something?
I don't think that. I don't think that was much of an issue anyway. Because as you can see, their record away from home in Europe isn't great anyway. So, and that's with fans. So it's like, and so I don't think that's much of an issue. One thing I would say though is like, as much as Sam, you were talking about, and I think I mentioned it too, the first 20 minutes were a bit disjointed and stuff like that. But the credit to the team, they kept their composure and they were patient. They didn't get reckless. They still kept their game plan, and then it paid dividends. So, and in these circumstances, that's not something you can take. It will be quite understandable if they kind of lost their rag and got a bit frustrated with the fake play acting and the breaking up of play and so on and so forth. And plus, just their game not really panning out the way they want it to. So, big up to them for that in that regard.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah, and I think, I personally think, and I don't have any proof, but I personally thought they were going to try hold on to the 1-goal lead, and if they did concede, play for penalties. I think that was the game plan.
After going one goal down.
Oh, from Galatasaray.
Because I think they thought
from kickoff, you mean?
Yeah, from kickoff. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. They will come. That's what I was saying. They come to the 1-0 because you've got the potential sucker punch of an Osimhen. You can't. It changes the game. I agree. I think they would have been like, you know what? Let's take this all the way.
Did you see from the kickoff there how deep their line was?
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know.
Well, look, if that was their game plan, let me say it's a foolhardy one. You come to Anfield, it's like standing in a storm with a flimsy umbrella and with holes in it. Let's go to the Salah penalty. Let's fast forward to that because Dominic Szoboszlai won that again. It's in the thick of things. He got a tap on the leg.
Wasn't really a pen, but we'll take it.
I mean, he lifted up his sock on his leg, so we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Anyway, were you happy, Jay, that Salah was stepping up to take that? Were you confident?
I wasn't confident, but you can't deny he's our penalty taker, and he scored many of them before. I just had this feeling. I thought, I didn't even want. I just. Do you know what? To be fair, let me take it back. Every time Salah takes a penalty, even in Champions League final, I've never been confident. I don't like his technique. It's effective, but like there's some like Bruno Fernandes when he takes a penalty. I don't rate him, but when he takes a penalty, it's going to score. Do you know what I mean? Or
have we got that player in our team then? Is it McAllister? Is it Szoboszlai who gives you more confidence when they step up?
Do you know what it is? When Szoboszlai, I think with the WhatsApp group, when we find him in that summer 2023, obviously I'd never really heard the guy, so I started looking at the YouTube comps, and there's all these penalties he took, and they're all in the same spot, right? But it always went in, like just about went in, and I just thought, wait, what if it was effective? So when he took, I think he took one penalty for us this season. I thought, okay, great, cool. I think it was an FA Cup. I can't remember where it was. But anyway, then he missed the one against Bournemouth. Not Bournemouth.
Burnley at Anfield, yeah.
So I know he's a good penalty taker, but I need to see a bit more. But I just think Salah. I'm not reacting. I don't think he should be taking off penalties. I just never confident because I don't like his style of penalty. It doesn't fill me with confidence, but he's effective. He just missed one today. Anyone can miss one.
So let me get it straight. He doesn't fill you with confidence, but you feel he should remain our penalty taker
because of his record. He scores more than he misses.
It's his recent record.
But he's not prolific at penalties. Let's also be fair. He's missed quite a relative.
Messi's missed more penalties than he has. And
that's true.
Michael Owen, another Ballon d'Or winner, had took 22 penalties, I believe, for Liverpool. Missed 10 of them.
Should have taken him off earlier.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Are we done with our Salah segment? No, we're not. No, we're not.
We haven't even started.
There's a whole second half to talk about. Oh my gosh. let's get into that second half, right? Because, as I said, I had a small bag full of anxiety carrying into that second half because I was like, oh, we had the chances, not quite clicking as I want us to. Needed the wonder shot from Soboslai, and I was thinking, is it going to come? Oh, wow, did it come 51st minute? Ekitike set up by Salah.
Before we talk about that, we have to talk about how he could have set up Ekitike moments before and he didn't. Let's do it chronologically.
Do
Come
we
on,
have
bro.
to talk about that?
Yeah,
I mean, can we not
man.
keep it positive? Oh, okay, all right.
We've also glossed over his first half chance where he tried to dink it over the keeper and he had time.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god, you guys are going to the bag of Salah negatives. All right. Let me pass the orcs. All right, Mr. Savage, talk about this.
After Orcs, love it.
You know what? It's become a bit of a
You
pantomime.
are allowed, by the way, to miss chances, to misplace passes. Yeah.
No. Hold on.
And we are allowed to talk about it.
And we're allowed to. This is the thing. It's become a pantomime. Ever since the whole incident. It's not a Slot versus Salah issue. It is okay to say, here are my issues with the manager. Here's why I think it should go. Here's why I'm never going to take it back. That's fine. You can also, in the same breath, say Salah. It's not that Salah's not to his standards because of the manager. It's what we've feared, that the drop off will be sharp because of how high the peak was, and that's also fine. Like, I'm also like comfortable with that. I'm sorry. Like, when Salah won all that stuff last year, I wasn't thinking, right, these next 2 years, now he's really got to show us. Now he's really got to earn the keep. Like, at no point when he got that, and this is where the only thing I didn't agree with him, but I understood Salah, where he's like, I've done my his legacy at Liverpool is untouched. So, like, if this is his last season, yeah, Gerrard's last season wasn't great either. Like, it doesn't change your legacy, so we should be able to critique it. But man, he's missing sitters. The ball's coming into him into a box is going off his leg. He's not always playing the right pass. This penalty, the penalty
he wasn't
thing.
The only one though. You can point.
No, it wasn't. No, but we're just talking just specific to Salah because
he's the only one of his section.
Yeah, and also in relation to the second and third goal, okay, yeah, he did the pass. He should have passed 4. On the third, he really should have scored. By the way, like, he actually really should have scored that. Luckily, it fell our way, fine, and a couple through balls. There was the offside. He built with confidence. 100% given that he built with confidence into the second half, but it doesn't mean that the title of this episode shouldn't be Salah redemption. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he did. He played well against a very poor team. Like, it was a very poor team, and whilst you may not think it could have been 10, and Mr. Drew, we're going to come on to your comment about as dominant as Barcelona in 2019. This was Besiktas 2008. We won that game 8-0 because we were putting chances away. We had 25 shots today, 15 on target. We should have got more than 4, and 3 or 4 of them are singly down to him.
That overhead kick from Crouch.
Yeah, there you go. So, and this is where,
Crouch
and this is why
chances.
he never missed chances like that. There you go. And this is where I'm tempering it. But again, I generally don't want to bit down on it because I'm taking it for what it was, for just that 90, especially that second half. Yeah, ran through them. Quick sucker punches. We had goals ruled out. So there's at least 2 we should have had that, they're all right, 1 offside. But that McAllister from the Van Dijk one, I don't understand it. So I think the quick sucker punches really helped. The Ekitike one and the Gravenberch finish as well. And it's like, okay, cool. I'm glad Ekitike scored. Because
that was on a plate for Ekitike, wasn't it?
It was on a plate, exactly. And you know what? He needed that because I think he scored 1 in 8. I think something coming into this, something like that. He needed something on the plate, and that's why I was happy for him. And yeah, look, Salah did well in the context of the game and in the context of how dominant we were. But it wasn't an excellent Salah performance either. Let's also not get that twisted.
I don't know what we're going to talk about when this player leaves. 2 minutes later,
we'll talk about his replacement. That's what we'll talk about.
Ryan Gravenberch puts us into paradise. We're clear now. We're not thinking, will they, won't they? We're through. Talk to me about that goal on 53 minutes double S and what it did for you emotionally.
Well, I thought he missed a chance. I was getting frustrated. When I saw it come back to Gravenberch, and of course Gravenberch is not the most efficient of finishers, is he? So when he went in, I kind of thought, I had to look. I look, and I'm thinking like, oh, is there a flag gone up? Is there going to be So
That's
yeah, I'm
just
quite
modern
happy with that.
football, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually. So I was like, yeah. But after that, once Gravenberch scored, I thought, okay, do you know what? I can relax now. I can actually pick up my phone and look at the WhatsApp messages. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just thought, get in, and all that kind of stuff. And I thought,
Yeah.
okay, that's when I could actually really start believe. So yeah, that was really the turning point for me. And also, you say Ekitike needed to go. I think so did Gravenberch. I think Gravenberch doesn't score enough. I mean, he's a DM, I get it, but this season has been a bit more advanced, and he
The
takes a lot,
positions to get
and
them.
he takes a lot of shots, and he doesn't even get them on target, yet alone score goals. So that was quite good anyway. So yeah, I think that settled it. That settled it, you know,
Yeah.
for
That's the
me.
agenda. We are live after Liverpool 4, Galatasaray 0 in the second leg of the round of 16 of the Champions League. The Reds progressing to a quarter-final tie against PSG in April. It was a fantastic performance, and 3 goals in 11 minutes blew Galatasaray away in the second half. On 62 minutes, Mohamed Salah with a bending shot. I was so anxious it was going to be offside when they were showing the replays.
And it's Eid today as well. Imagine.
But that was a thing of beauty. When you talk about rolling back the years, that reminded me of when he first arrived, those first couple of years. And remember what he did to Roma
Yeah.
in that game?
Chelsea, the Chelsea game,
Yeah.
Brighton last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was
Southampton at home 3-0.
I was super pleased with him because he was getting a lot of heat and hate in some of the WhatsApp groups I was in. I must state, to be clear and transparent, Mr. Sandridge was not one of the haters.
Thank you.
Talk to me about that finish, please.
To be fair, it was a great finish, and do you know what? And this is where, because people think I'm a Salah hater, I promise you I'm not. I just call it how I see it, whether it's the manager, whether it's the player, whoever. It was a good finish, and that's where the confidence had built in. Yeah, he got the assist for the second. You know, the through ball for the one that should have been given, but was ruled out. To be fair, it was offside, so not that it should have been given. So you know, he'd built the confidence, and I want Salah to play like he did in the second half, which was chalk and cheese to how he played in the first half. So if he's going to play a little bit more centrally, which clearly is what the manager wants, and we're going to see that long term with Isak and Ekitike, but for the rest of this season, Salah's going to be playing a lot more narrower. I like to see him being able to pick up the ball on the edge of the box and actually look up a bit more, whereas sometimes he's always looked down trying to drive. And I think that's exactly what he gets. And I think, like you said, it's a throwback to the first half of his Liverpool career, where when Salah turns inside, anywhere within 30 yards is a very good chance. And when he's hitting it like that, ooh, it was a great goal. Probably the best goal of the night, I'd say, to be fair.
Shout out to Jez, who was at the ground today. She actually predicted a 1-1, yet still went to the game. To see that's a true fan. Even though she was dreading the worst, she got the very best of Liverpool. When I talk about the very best double S, I have not seen a performance like that in the European Cup from Liverpool at Anfield. As good as that since Barcelona. What are you telling me?
Each their own. There's no accounting for judgment. But yeah, okay. But all I'll say,
Name me the game I'm forgetting about.
Inter Milan. We've got Atleti.
Inter Milan win.
The quad chasing season.
22, yeah.
Yeah. So there's two off the top of my head. I can't think.
You would say we played better in one of those halves? I don't recall it.
We played better because we just that team, we were dominant from start to finish because we could control games. You know, there wasn't any jeopardy there. We were just like literally. It was like we had people like Nat Phillips, doing Cruyff turns at the San Siro, and just dropping just dropping 2, 3, 4 man. That's what we were doing, bro.
Nat deserves a statue after that one.
Yeah, that's something that was that season. So, you know, and we waltzed our way to the final. I mean, we had a bit of trouble maybe with Darwin Núñez when he was at Benfica, the 3-3 at home. But that was about. And I think the Villarreal game was a little bit okay until Luis Diaz came and went round our goalkeeper. But other than that, of course, we got the final. So yeah, we've had that, but I don't want to talk about that with your respect. Samuel, you're talking about obviously brilliant goal. Talking about Salah as in like um, he had nothing to prove, and I believe this is his like in athletic the victory lap, the lap of honor. This is a lap of honor, waving to the fans, thank for the
Yeah,
memories, damn,
yeah.
and this is
You
it.
can
It's going
see
out
in the way
now.
he celebrates his goals as well. It's very
Basically, he
much
sees it.
where we're at. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And when I saw that goal, I kind of felt I won't go as far as emotional, but I kind of thought, oh, do you know what? It's actually coming to an end, and he knows it. It's gonna it's gonna be tough, but it's always tough to say goodbye to a fan favorite. But be interesting to see who comes and replaces him.
Mr. Sammy, what's the most upset you've ever been when a player's left the club?
Uh, um, what after Fernando Torres, I disassociated. So that's why I was like, "Do you know what? Anyone could do it." Remember how quickly that happened? Or I remember I was at uni. I was like,
yeah.
"Well, that's not gonna happen." And then he's in a helicopter, and it's 50 mil back then. That's basically 150 mil now. So
taking it.
yeah.
Blink of an eye.
For me,
yeah,
for me, Fernando Torres, it wasn't so much that he left because I could see, like with Alonso leaving and
yeah,
I could see it was time
exactly.
for him to go. It was who he went to.
Yeah, that's
I think that was
Chelsea.
it. Had he gone back to Atletico or Barca or PSG or wherever, fair play. Like Luis Suarez, okay, Luis Suarez other issues, but as a player, when he left, I was like, well, he went to Barcelona, I can take it. But for me, the person I hurt the most, I think Robbie Fowler because he went out
Really?
because he had the clash with Phil Thompson,
I was
and
very
that's
calm
what.
about that because he wasn't contributing that much at that
No,
point.
I understand, but I didn't remember at that time. I would
You
have
had a
been,
tattoo.
well, of course, on my face. I just had to black it out. No, I'm joking. No, it's like because obviously with Robbie Fowler, because I'm watching this since 17. I used to watch him on the England schoolboys, whatever. I used to watch him on ITV. Um, and him, Julian Joachim, Kevin Gallen, they're all in the same team, right?
Mate,
Um,
I've triggered something. Did you write him letters as well?
Mate, I was devastated. I was devastated. I love that guy, right? And then and I thought him and because when Mike Owen came onto the scene, he started keeping on with injuries, and I just in my mind I thought, once he starts getting fit again, it'll be Heskey, Owen, and Fowler. We're gonna have the proper front three, and it never quite worked that way. So yeah,
Well,
I was
don't worry
gutted.
about Heskey and Fowler, Mr. Sandwich. We had Verts, Ekatike, and Salah. They
Salah tonight.
pulverized. They punched up. They uh,
Obliterated.
something else beginning with P. A piss
I would
poor
repeat. Yeah,
Galatasaray team,
yeah.
and to the point where we could have had a lot more goals. And right at the death, we were disallowed what should have been a fifth goal from as a Van Dijk supposed foul when McAllister
Was never a
tapped in.
foul.
What happened there?
I think the ref. I think it's good that we won, and we won very comfortably because the ref was not good. I won't blame him though. He wasn't meant to be the ref. It was meant to be Marciniak, who is a top ref. He did the World Cup final, and I think the referee he was overawed by the prospect of a quarter final at Anfield. Hopefully he learned from that, so he wasn't good, and I think that decision kind of epitomized it. There wasn't a foul. Like there literally was not a foul at all, and he still blew it. So I think it's good that we won comfortably because some of the decisions and what he allowed Galatasaray to get away with in that first half an hour, that wasn't very good refereeing at all.
I can't believe you're making excuse for him that because he's a last minute replacement. He got paid for today. Yeah, he got paid his fee. Therefore, I'm sorry. If you can accept the fee, you can accept the scrutiny. That's all I'm
poor
saying.
referees, they can never get any credit.
Well, I was gonna say I only give grace because it was a very very late call. Like you mentally prepare for things when we all go to work. If you get thrown into a meeting an hour before you were meant to start, I just think
Imagine I gave you 5 minutes notice for a pod, JWS.
like
How do you feel
exactly
about that?
yeah.
you know
All
what?
over the shop.
There's been times I wake up, you remember, after a heavy night, and I've
Yeah,
said something on the
yeah.
pod, right? And I'll have you know, remember the day, remember I wasn't supposed to be on the pod, and then we lost 4-1 to we lost 4-1 to PSV. I had
You
to
got
run home. I
you
had
got
to run
emotion.
Yeah.
home. Do you know
You
what I
got
mean?
emotion.
So,
That's-
you know,
he came out of whatever he was doing to join us. And
it's too
look,
much.
4-1 back then, 4-0 tonight. So we're in a much happier place for this.
Indeed,
And we
bravo,
can be
bravo.
thankful. Okay.
Great
Now
segue.
we do need to discuss a couple of important stories from this week, including the AFCON disgrace. In disgrace, as Drogba would say. The Chelsea. Well, the week Chelsea have had has been quite funny, but the fine that they've received also. But anything else you guys want to cover off in terms of this match that we've missed?
Like I said, yeah, I'm glad we kept a clean sheet. Again, they didn't lay a punch, but there's been times where teams have had one shot on target and they've scored from it, and it's ruined the day. So that's a positive as well. Got to give the defense a positive with the clean sheet.
There's one thing I wanted to say as well, kind of back on the Salah thingy. One thing you've noticed when Firmino, Mane, and Salah were both all played together, people never doubled up on Salah because he had Mane free, right? Since last season, they've been doubling up on Salah, right? Today, Galatasaray never doubled up on Salah. That's why he could score the goal. He scored the goal. So that's also something that shouldn't go overlooked because I know when we play Brighton, they're going to double up on Salah.
Exactly.
Guys, something we must not overlook is that awaiting us in the quarter-final are the Princes of Paris, the
Light work.
reigning European champions. That's not what we were saying before the pod started. Double S.
But you convinced me. I saw the error of my ways. I saw the light.
We brought you around. Let's not take you to the negative place again.
Okay.
But when you saw what they did to Chelsea yesterday, when you've seen, and by the way, they've been catching some heat in France for not being quite as on it as they were last year. I think that's partly down to the fact they're not really got much competition. But anyway, in Europe, they've done the damn thing. They still look like a very slick machine. I saw what they did to Chelsea when it was 2-2, part of the France last week. And Kvaratskhelia is just chilling on the bench. He's just jamming. And he's like, it's time to come on and fuck you guys up. And then started the same way against Chelsea at the bridge. And then went off. And that was it. Good night. You got Desiree Doué. You got Ousmane Dembele, the best player in the world, apparently. All these weapons they've got. But with all that being said, I still see a vulnerability. They still give up a lot of chances. What are your hopes for the next round and what Liverpool can do and how they can approach that game that time, Mr. Sandwich, to come out on top?
I want to see us apply ourselves. Like what people forget is it went to penalties last year. Yes, they absolutely battered us in the first leg, but we still got the win. That Harvey Elliott.
That was the worst 1-0 victory.
1-0 worst, but and you know when we're thinking back now, like hello, warning signs, right? And that second leg, it was a mistake. It was a clumsy mistake from Konate that got them the goal. Again, warning signs. So like it's a very very sick.
It was nip and tuck.
Yeah, exactly. So then they weren't that far ahead of us then. My thing is we just need to make sure we're competitive. We can't have what we're doing where almost all our Champions League games away apart from Frankfurt. To be fair, Inter we're good, but like we can't let them just have it their own way. That is my issue. It's like, yeah, we can't have that where they're just going to be able to just have their own way with us because they can embarrass teams. Like you said, I think they're not the best team we've seen in the last decade or anything, but like they're a very good team, and if you give them opportunities with their firepower, they're going to take them. So I really want to make sure we apply ourselves. I want to make sure the players actually bring that same energy and fortitude of actually, look, we deserve to be at this stage. We've not fluked our way here. We had a great group stage performance. We've had a great first knockout over the aggregate. we deserve to be here, and they need to show themselves. Luckily, I believe we'll still have the second leg at Anfield, so that might help as well. So if we can be competitive in that first leg, again, that's to come, when we discuss that. But I don't want it to be like what happened to Chelsea or what happened to Barcelona, where you're in it, and then
are you scared that's
then you
what could
wake up
happen?
and you're not in it.
Are you scared
I'm
Liverpool
scared.
could get beaten up?
Yeah. Absolutely. We've been beaten up this season, and PSV are not like PSG are 15 times better than PSV.
Yeah, but PSG, by the way,
yeah,
they didn't coast the group stage.
They didn't last season either.
They didn't last season either.
And last year even worse. So we always say
Yeah.
that what you see in November, October, whatever, is very different to what you see in springtime. Double S. Let me come to you on that one.
Very, 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 very brief on that. But you're right. Now we're in spring. They were significantly better over their 2 legs against Chelsea than we were in our 2 legs over Galatasaray. So
You've seen Chelsea, eh? Saw Chelsea against Newcastle.
yeah, and you saw Galatasaray tonight as well. So
Double S, what are your expectations and hopes for this tie, and what can Liverpool do to put PSG in their place?
Expectations, I have no idea because, as I said before, I can't trust. I don't know what I'm going to get with this team, right? This team can make a fool out of you. You know what I mean? So they are about our team, so I don't really know. Obviously, my hopes are obviously that we win. Now, what I want to see is, we cannot afford to be wasting chances. Because it's like against Galatasaray, yeah, we missed a lot of chances, but we knew another one was going to come in. Do you know what I mean? They kept them coming. Against PSG, we're going to have times where we're going to be on the ascendancy, and they're going to be times where we're going to have to kind of, have to suffer, as it were. And they seem to be more likely to take their chances than we do, and that seemed to me a problem. Obviously, things can change in a match. I understand that. And I think the first leg will tell us everything. I think the game will be decided by what we do on the first leg. I think Anfield takes care of itself, but and I think they do show vulnerabilities and I know the game's 90 minutes plus, I get it, but for about 50 odd minutes, Chelsea were going toe to toe with them. The first half and the first leg, Chelsea actually looked the better team in some parts. So it wasn't invincible. It's just that they've got a manager who is even more clueless than ours at the moment. In Leroy Rossini, with all due respect. I mean, I'm trying to root for black managers, but sometimes, you know what I mean? Shout out to Johnny Mikel, but I'm just saying he's not really doing himself justice. And them beating Chelsea, it's funny because they're a Premier League team, but Chelsea are not the Chelsea. This is Clear Lake Chelsea, not Abramovich Chelsea. True. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So
at the same time, they were minced and mangled over 2 legs, and I find it funny because I was listening to, as I do, I like to hate listen to podcasts. It's one of my favourite pastimes, guys.
Right, delete straight out of Cobham.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely, that was on my list. And I was hearing a lot of this. Oh well, for 50 minutes we were really good. It was 8-2 on aggregate. Got bitch slapped, okay? Right? What happened was, after a while, they stopped toying with you. They stopped pissing about, and champions are allowed to have poor periods of games. They basically put you to sleep. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And that could easily, you're right, it could easily happen to Liverpool. And if they play like they did last season in Paris, they won't even make it back to Liverpool with a hope in hell. That's not going to repeat itself, right?
It won't be up for debate.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, I look at Alisson's performance that game, one of the best I've seen. Well, he's one of the busiest
since 2019 in Barcelona.
Yeah. There you go. So I'm hopeful that they can just firm it over in Paris, keep the damage down, get the encouragement of a goal, right? If not 2. And I'll gladly take a narrow defeat if you handed it to me now, knowing that when we come back to Anfield, if they do another kitchen sink performance, they could get through. But I'm not super optimistic, but I know they can be hurt. As can any team.
There's talk that Alexander the Great might make the bench for around about that time.
Alexander the Great?
Yes.
Who's Alexander Great?
Not Trent, that's for sure.
Isak.
Mr. Isaac.
Oh, he's
Oh,
so
you
far from my
literally
memory.
forgot about him.
I forgot
Oh,
about
yes.
it.
I thought you were doing a bit. Yeah, Isak.
In my mind, he's a September guy. I wasn't even seriously thinking about him for this
He's
season.
back in training and stuff.
No, he's back in training. Yeah, he's going to be back training. We're going to see him in April.
Has he been kicking the ball, Miss Sandwich? Is he respecting the ball?
Well, I've seen him running and stuff, and he's looking it's looking like he's put on. Oh, yeah, I got that. Sorry, it's looking like he's put on a bit sturdier than he was before. I know you're probably thinking, look at me, who's talking about? You know what I'm saying? He's a professional athlete.
So, did they have him in a huddle? I haven't seen these pictures.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, look, that's to come later, and there'll be plenty of time to talk about it. I'm super excited about it. I'm thrilled that we've got through to the next round. However we did it tonight, but particularly with the performance and the application of the team and the fact they completely stepped up from what we saw on Sunday. Super pleased, right? That's to come. I want to touch on super quickly the performances and results, mainly, I guess, of the other English teams, because coming into this round, all 6 English teams had qualified. And there's all the talk about, oh, well, the Premier League's very strong. I still think the Premier League is very strong compared to other leagues, right? And that's why we're going to be seeing another 5 teams in the competition next year. But the chances of an English team winning were slightly reduced, to say the least, because
By
Spurs, Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea. Who else did I miss?
Man City.
Man City, all knocked out. Let's start with Man City. What did you make of their?
Well, let's get Spurs out. Let's get Spurs out of the way.
Let's do Man City because I thought they were the most respectable.
Okay.
So, Mr. Savage, what did you make of what you saw there? Please talk to me about Pep Guardiola's fashion get-up, because I thought I just said it was a terrible checkered shirt. I knew what was coming after that.
Drip check.
Yeah.
I think, Man City is some. Do you know what? And you know, I don't hate listening to pods, but I was listening to a pod where they're talking about Champions League comebacks, and they are rare. What doesn't help is that Sporting just did it, come back from 3-0, but it is really difficult to get in the mindset to try and chase down a 3-goal lead in that sense. I think Sporting, you can think, okay, Bodo, they're on a great run, but actually we genuinely believe we're superior to them. Champions League semi-final, right, we've got the crowd at Anfield, all these things, but there reaches a point where you just we're really good, they're really good, but they have a 3-goal advantage. And I think it was just that, I didn't watch the full game. I just think it was that. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, we're in it. Oh, and then the red card happens, the penalty, and it's just like, we're just not going to be able to do anything to turn this over. The City players didn't believe, and I think that this Guardiola, he also absolutely deserves a victory lap, but it's almost like the players know the secret, the manager knows the secret, the fans deep down know the secret, and it's just really hard for themselves to get themselves up there because, again, they've reached the peak. He's done the 100 points. They did the domestic treble. They've won the Champions League. They won 4 in a row. All these kind of things. I think there is a cycle. The Pep cycle has naturally ended. So, it was just really hard for him to get them up. And Real Madrid and Man City, they basically play. Well, no, basically they do play every year. So I think that familiarity. I think the City players knew we're not going to do this. And now Bernardo's gone off and they've scored again. Yeah, forget it.
I think it's more.
Go ahead, Douglas.
I think it's more simple and basic and fundamental than this. Is in the sense that Man City, because they beat they went to the Bernabeu and they beat Real Madrid earlier. I think they thought it will be not easy, but they thought, we've got these guys' numbers, right? And that first half, they were shell shocked because they came at the second half, and it's like they were very timid. You can tell. And
I mean, the first half in Madrid.
First half in Madrid, because I even I was blown away. I wasn't expecting this. I thought I wasn't too sure who's going to win because
even Valverde is blown away. He never scored a hat-trick.
Exactly, and because they at the first 20 minutes, you could see what Doku was doing to Trent, And I thought, hang on, what here? Obviously, it was hate watching Trent, obviously, right? I'm thinking, what we've got here, right? And then they adjusted, and
Yeah.
they not even double. They've got 3 man on Doku that to help Trent, right? And then they just start banging goals, and you can see that Pep Guardiola had no answer, and the players was shell shocked, and this Manchester City team. The reason why it's not like it was before is that the players, the people who they've replaced are not good. The replaced are not as good as the originals. There's no one there as good as Mahrez or people may hate on Raheem Sterling, but Raheem Sterling was effective. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
KDB, you haven't replaced him. Vincent Company, these guys. So, well, Kyle Walker, for example. So, these guys are just not as good. And it's like, as good as. Sorry?
I was going to say they may not be as good, but you need to remember Man City under Pep has been to 2 Champions League finals, and they've had many years, including that time we went to Monaco, including the time we went to Spurs, including the time we punched them repeatedly in the face at Anfield, and they had no answer. Come back to the Etihad, but they're flat to deceive, and that moment that went against them with the card was just it.
That was it.
Yeah, they weren't recovering. But even then, they had a few chances, but the gap was just too big. All right, I want to move on to Spurs.
Okay.
Because Double S, you mentioned Spurs, so it gave you pleasure to see them get knocked out. I understand. They won 3-2 tonight, though.
It didn't give me pleasure.
7-5 on
It didn't give me pleasure to get them to see knocked out, because I don't hate Spurs, but the reason what I was saying to you is that you're talking about basically what I'm trying to make is that Spurs getting knocked out doesn't affect the standing of the Premier League because it's Spurs.
I mean, that is such a beautifully crafted diss. I think we should just move on from them. They lost 7-5 on aggregate after being slapped up in Madrid. And brave effort. I'm a bit pissed off. I think we've fueled their optimism about the season, what they could do after that stupid result on Sunday. Okay, let's move on to Newcastle, because that had me in flipping stitches, if I'm honest. 1-1 in the first leg at St James's Park. They went away to Barcelona. They decided that we're going to have a firefight with these guys. You go, we go. You go, we go. That first half, it was 2-2, super entertaining. I sent a message to one of my friends saying, second half, I don't know if they've got anything left in the tank after what I've seen. And in the end, oh my goodness me, what a battering, Mr. Samage.
Yeah, this is the definition of, well, that escalated quickly. Like you said, 1-1 first leg, 2-2 half time. And because it's the early game, I hadn't finished work, and you're seeing the text like, this Newcastle Barca game is back
7-2, they lost the game. 7-2.
And then that all happened. So yeah, this was the definition of, that escalated quickly. And I think it also speaks to Barcelona's strength, who, they got to the semi-finals last year, had an entertaining 2 legs against Inter. They're serious about this competition, and I think they said, we're not going to mess around anymore. We've got the second half, we're at home, and we're going to take all the spaces. I didn't watch the full 90, I only saw like all the goals and a few of the key incidents, so it just looked like they held it. So they essentially went toe-to-toe with Barcelona for 75% of the tie. But that difference in quality was the difference in that last quarter.
It was a chasm. I thought I was watching Celtic or something. And actually, I said it was 2-2 going at half time. It was actually 3-2.
3-2 penalty, yeah.
They got a penalty, right? Yeah.
I actually thought before the second leg that Newcastle could pull off a shock.
Really?
I actually thought they could pull off a shot. And when it was 2-2, I looked at my phone as 2-2 because I didn't get to watch the whole match. And then the next minute I looked at my phone and said, "Oh my goodness!" I thought, I was like, "What the hell was I thinking?" But watching the highlights back, that high line is suicidal.
It's just suicide.
They're not going to win the competition. They're going to get far, but not going to win the competition. When they come up against the real G's, that high line they're going to take. I can see it.
I do admire them just going for it though, because you saw it against Inter Milan last year.
And it's great. It's
great what a semi-final that was.
Yeah.
But like you said, it was there was no need for them to go out. It was completely suicidal. Okay, and then we got a last English team to go out. We did touch upon how Chelsea absolutely got murdered by PSG.
This was the most enjoyable.
It was. Do you know what was so beautiful about this game? As with all the others, we're going into it knowing what will be the ultimate outcome, as in there'll be tears at the end for Chelsea, right? But it was more the fact that in their minds, I believe they thought they had a chance of being competitive, and like after 6 minutes, blam, punch in the face, it's done. You're dead. It's time to move on. You got to think about the weekend now, and they had to play out the rest of the game, knowing that they had no chance. And on top of that, PSG still stuck to their task, still pulled, still probed, still went for it, and it was a thoroughly convincing 3-0 in the end. And I think it really put into sharp focus the level of experience or lack of experience that Chelsea have as a team, but also with their manager at that level. And I was even when they employed this guy, Rossini, I was thinking there has to be high pressure nights like this, and you've never been in a situation where you've endured stress at the top level, and this was inevitable. It was inevitable. I saw it coming, and it was beautiful.
You know when I listen to these other YouTubers. I won't mention their names and it's like that, right? But it's like how a lot of rival fans always mock us. This Liverpool atmosphere. It's a mess. Blah 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 blah. Right? But yet, when their team needs the result, they're like, European nights at the bridge, as if that's ever been a thing. Come on, yeah. But but they were trying it.
Don't forget the flags. Come on.
Oh, sorry, the flag. Sorry. What blue is the colour? What Chelsea? Anyway, so they were saying all that, and I thought, okay, let me, because I had the Madrid game on one screen, and I had the Chelsea game on the other screen, and I'm thinking like I just turned away, and with 2 minutes, next minute I'm saying, oh, they've scored, and I thought, okay, that's and literally just like. It was like after they scored, all of a sudden there was just silence in the stadium, and it was like, it was quite funny. It was actually quite funny, and I think all these years of them, thinking that they are a heritage club and they're big boys, and they keep on telling us 30 years and you haven't won a league title, but people forget. They went 50 years without winning a league title, and in their first 100 years, only one league title. One league title in a century versus one league title in 30 years.
Tell them about it, John. Come on.
Do you know what I mean? They'll talk about, the Steven Gerrard slip, right? And that's fine, but they'll forget to talk about the John Terry slip in Moscow. Hello. Before Abramovich, they only had one league title in the whole existence. One league. That's less than Spurs. Less than Spurs, bro. And we know Spurs don't win league titles.
You're calling Chelsea Spurs.
So I'm just saying.
This personal vendetta against Chelsea.
No. I'm just saying. At least because I'm old. I'm old enough to remember when Chelsea got relegated. I remember when Chelsea got relegated in '86. Right. Yeah. So I think they spent 1 year in thinking they got back up. That's fine. But the point I'm trying to make to you is that Chelsea, with all due respect to Manchester United, with all due respect to Arsenal, I know we might banter, but we can respect them because there's a grudging respect there. Do you see what I'm saying? But I think with Chelsea now, Daddy Roma is no longer there. You're going to see, and there's even a more worrying thing. Apparently, the money's running out. Apparently, because Clearlake and Blueco, blah blah blah. Because they've got private equity coming into the club when they bought the club to spend X amount of money, and people when these institutional investors invested into the club, they're expecting a return, and usually the runway for a private equity firm is about between 6 to 8 years, and we're approaching that time now. They're expecting a return, but they can't because it's like they can't build on the stadium. They're not getting commercial sponsorship on the shirts, and if they miss out in Champions League again, they're posted about the biggest loss in English football history.
They got more problems than that because if they don't qualify for Champions League, as you say, That's going to create an issue or two. This week, they were hit with the Premier League's largest ever fine, Mr. Samuj, and handed a suspended 1-year transfer ban. It's only it's a £10.75 million fine, and it came after Blueco, who are the owners, voluntarily self-reported some wrongdoings and financial irregularities to the footballing authorities. Had they not done so and it had been uncovered, they would have been in bigger trouble. So all this stuff occurred under the previous regime with Roman Abramovich. How do you view the way this may kind of like taint or their trophies during that time? I think they won like 7 or 8 trophies between 2010 and 2018 when these irregularities are meant to have occurred.
I don't think it makes a difference because the ruling, and we're going to come on to another ruling in direct relation to a trophy, but what the Premier League said was, here's a little slap on the wrist, don't do it again, we're going to give you a suspended sentence and just give us your dinner allowance for a month. Like, it makes no difference, unfortunately. And this is like, football's different from athletics or cycling, where it's the individual, where you can give an individual a medal 8 years after an Olympics because of the doping. You can't do that in football. You can't go back in.
Why can't you?
And let me get onto that. You can't go back and recreate that moment of those players having the opportunity to lift that trophy. You can't go back now and legislate that, actually, that Gerrard, that slip against Chelsea, actually, that was in the period and what should have then happened. You can't go back and be like, that cup game. And unfortunately, you can't in a team.
You haven't told me why.
I'm getting to the why, because the emotional connection of football is about the moment. And it's actually, my point is, it's even changed even more based on the story we're going to come to with CAF. And that's only been 2 months. You're trying to then give trophies out 15 years later, 12 years later. No, the reason why it doesn't taint is because they've been allowed to do it. That's the bottom line. Chelsea have been allowed to do it. Man City have been allowed to do it.
And we're still waiting for...
Can I just ask a question?
Very quickly, just one second. The financial, quote-unquote, penalty is nothing. They spent more paying out Graham Potter and they spent more paying out Pochettino. It's almost laughable that the Premier League are essentially letting them get away with this because they've not gone and stripped, because they've not put on sanctions, and because they're now saying, you did self-report. Okay, hi police. Do you know what? Actually, I robbed this TV from my neighbor 4 months ago. Is that all right? And I just don't do it again. The reason why I'm saying that it doesn't work in football is because the authorities don't have the teeth to make it mean anything. This fine doesn't make a difference. What we're seeing with Man City, this 115 doesn't make a difference. That judgment might come in after Pep Guardiola's left. And then what? You're going to fine Man City £20 million? Okay. The reason why I'm saying that it can't work is because the authorities, i.e. the Premier League and UEFA, they don't have the teeth to do it. And they've shown they don't have the teeth to do it because they've given them a fine.
Okay, but Samaj, it's not that I agree with some of what you say. My issue is when you talk about you can't take away, you can't award trophies. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should do this, but I'm saying you're saying we can't take away trophy because the emotional connection and lifting the trophy, blah 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 blah. But it's the same with athletes. If you're like Linford Christie got a bronze and then he ended up getting a silver because of Ben Johnson or whatever, right? Imagine something like Carl Lewis, for example. He got the gold medal, but he never got the chance to sit on the podium and watch his national anthem and Star Spangled. That moment when Olympic money, remember that they worked years for that. It's not they can't win Olympic every single year or whatever, right? Like if you win 4 in a row, if you lose 2 of them, you still got. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So it's a similar thing. It's just not a team sport. I think it can happen. There's no reason why it can't happen if it can happen in other sports. There's no reason. It's just that we as football fans, we always like to make exception. But it's football. It's not like other sports. It's the same thing, right? I'm not a fan of it.
No, my point was specifically that they haven't. The IOC, they will strip. Cycling, they will strip. Football doesn't strip.
But you also said They can't, and I'm saying they can. They choose not to. That was my only contention.
That's fair as well.
In terms of the appetite and of course I agree with all of that part. But I'm just saying the whole glory element. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, it is what it is. And I think also me, one more last thing. I think sporting sanctions are far more effective than financial sanctions.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So there is a sporting sanction component to this, which is they're banned for 9 months from taking place from other Premier League and EFL academies, right? And that's a big part of their model. But again, I accept it's a slap on the wrist. Now, let's get to a bigger story, a juicier story. 2 months ago, can't remember what I was doing 2 months ago, but 2 months ago, I know that the Senegalese players were having it large in Dakar, celebrating a great triumph, having beaten Morocco in an extremely controversial AFCON final. It is an embarrassing end to the game. We all remember what happened. Essentially, it turned into a farce when Senegal had a late goal ruled out for a marginal foul on Hakimi. Then after that, in stoppage time, Morocco get awarded a penalty through VAR for a challenger on Brahim Diaz, who, after the Senegalese leave the pitch for 10 minutes or more, not Sadio Mane, but the rest of the squad,
who was captain. Therefore, technically speaking, the team didn't leave the pitch.
So after that happens, then Brahim Diaz comes back and takes the funniest penalty I've ever seen, a rubbish Panenka. And Senegal go on to score an extra time and win the match. But this week, CAF, they called CAF, they stripped them of the title and retroactively awarded the final to Morocco. I'm just going to say, Mr. Samuj, speak on it.
So actually, I want to slightly... in relation to this, I actually want to qualify what I meant on my previous point. What I meant was about stripping, whereas actually the authorities should vacate. So you can vacate based on wrongdoing that's been done. What you can't and shouldn't do is, this is what I meant in terms of stripping of the sporting outcome has taken place. The decision was made on the day, and what the issue that I had at the time, and I still have now, is that the referee and the match observers had an opportunity to rectify it then and there. You either say, right, you have 10 minutes, rule 82, I think it is, says if you're not ready to play within 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you forfeit it. You go in the dressing room and tell them that. And then if they don't do it, then you forfeit it there and then. You can't, this is beyond re-refereeing. This is beyond re-legislating. This is just like CAF are trying to tell us what you saw, that didn't happen. They're trying to, there's gaslighting, and then there's this. There is, no, that game finished 3-0. That game finished 3-0. They didn't come back out. And we're like, no, they did come back out. Like JWS said, Mane was there. The players came out and the ref blew his whistle. The game continued. And this is what my issue is. So this is what I meant more with stripping. Whereas my previous point was actually about vacating. But stripping, and this is ridiculous.
And VAR doesn't cover leaving pitches, does it?
It doesn't. Of course it doesn't.
I'm joking, obviously. I'm just...
Well, yeah.
But
interestingly, the thing is, CAF have a rule. Like, they actually do have a rule about 15 minutes if you're not ready to play. And this where it's like, everyone from CAF would have been there. It's the final. Your head of governance should have been like...
They all had access to Google.
Surely in your head, you're like, I'm sure there's somewhere in our bylaw that if you're not available for 50... Okay, let me just quickly search. And you make a ruling there and then. You can't do this. This is why CAF have a reputation. And this is why AFCON is taken as a... It's not taken as a serious competition.
No.
Serious organizations do not act.
But can I say something? You're right. It's damaged the reputation of African football, and it's ridiculous. There's no defense for this. But this is not the reason why people disrespect African football. Yeah, this is not the reason. There are other reasons. You know, I could explain it to you in print form, but I'm just saying there are other reasons, right? So let's. There's going to be plenty of pundits who will use this argument. Let's not aid and abet in that. This, in and of itself, is terrible. I would also go on to say that my hunch is that money's been exchanged. My hunch is
you're going to get us libeled on YouTube.
No. Firstly, I've not mentioned.
Can I just say at this point?
Please put a disclaimer.
JWS's hunch at this moment in time. We've not received any information that might suggest that he could be right in his hunch. Please continue, WS.
I clearly said it's a hunch. I introduced it as a hunch. Right? We all know what a hunch is. I suspect, even though I have no evidence, right? But hey, there
might be someone looking at a rule book to extract a rule I'm not aware of. So I'm just trying to protect myself and you too.
Thank you. Okay. It was reported to me.
You had a dream.
In my conscience, I had a dream. Yeah. I had a dream. Yeah, that maybe somebody, I don't know, in a North African country beginning with M, were not happy with the situation because they were supposed to win it. They're the home. It was their tournament. They were supposed to win it, right? But obviously Senegal didn't read the script, and that's kind of what I believe happened. Because I can't think of any other reason why you'll do this because who benefits from this? Even the whole continent loses,
exactly.
And. Yeah,
Morocco players, professionals don't want to win.
No, I don't think so. I can't see Hakimi and their man thinking, "Yeah, look,
this is people now." In boardrooms, maybe envelopes were presented, maybe they weren't.
And even me as a Liverpool fan, if the 115 comes, I don't want to win the Premier League in 2014, or I don't want that. I can celebrate. So for me, as a Liverpool fan, I'm not even being a hypocrite. I wouldn't want that at all. Do you know what I mean? Because if I can't think a player lift the trophy in the moment, I don't want it.
That's what I just said.
No, I agree. I don't want it. But on the same token, I also believe that it can happen.
You can vacate, definitely.
Yeah, you can. Because what's the name? It's like in 1993 when Marseille won the league, they had to vacate that because of the same season. Even Juventus remember that. So it has happened, and life goes on, right?
Yeah. Guys, I found it absolutely disgraceful. I was disgusted by it, and it actually left me a bit depressed. I know you're saying that that's not the reason that people disrespect African football, but it doesn't flip and help.
Yeah,
I just want to
agreed.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. I want to come back to that because I do want to qualify because I agree with you in terms of the racial part of why outside of Africa don't respect African football. I'm talking within Africa. There's a reason the African federations don't trust CAF. Senegal's riposte doesn't trust CAF. They're saying, this is corruption. In the tournament, Nigeria complained about some of the things in Morocco. So I 100% that we're not going to disagree that world football and FIFA look down on African football, but I'm talking from the governance structures within African football, the suspicion, the North versus Sub-Saharan, this country is hosting, and this team didn't get to train, and this team has to train in the open. All of that happens even within Africa. So that's what I'm saying about the severity of it. We're talking about CAF, who they've just cancelled women's AFCON because for I think 11 days notice. They're moving AFCONs at 2 months notice. So I'm talking within the continent where obviously we have ethno clashes, but it's not as if the primary driver is we don't trust them because they're African.
You're right. And another dimension for that is actually African FAs, associations don't trust CAF. But African players don't trust their own federation.
Don't trust their own federation.
Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda.
Yeah.
Guys, whichever way you look at it,
Yeah, but exactly.
it's terrible.
Exactly.
I was so depressed by this. But anyway, one thing I'm hoping that isn't going to leave me depressed is Liverpool's return to Premier League action on Saturday. They go away to Brighton. He's huffing and puffing. Look, you just saw what happened tonight. You know it's all going to be right now, going forward for the last 12 games or whatever.
What time the match?
Predictions, please. I don't know.
With the early kickoff. Again, we're on TNT all the time, guys. Early kickoff, 12:30.
12:30 kickoff.
So 12:30. That may inform Double S's prediction, but we'll come to you in a minute. Mr. Sandwich, what are you saying?
Oh man, I'm hoping we can ride off the coattails. Oh, something we didn't touch on because I think we're hoping it's precaution, but Salah did have to go off.
Good point.
With he did have to, do the whole something's not right. I need to go off. Hopefully, just a precaution. And I like the subs at the end where actually we took off some players so they could get 15, 20 minutes. But it's interesting. Szoboszlai himself said it in the post game. He's like, yeah, it's good. We've got Anfield and we've got the crowd, but we've got 12:30 away at Brighton. So hopefully the players are recovered enough and are able to get up for that game. Brighton are in good form. I'm going to go for an optimistic 2-1 win, hopefully.
Okay, we did lose there last year, but that was after we were on our jolly, having wrapped up the league.
Came back from my beefer.
After raving it up. Double S, what do you see in your crystal ball? Are you respecting the crystal ball? And what do you see?
I see a 2-0. I see a clean sheet. I see scrappy performance, but yeah.
I would love a 2-0. I don't think we're going to go through that 90 minutes without conceding, though. So I'm going to go 3-1, though. I think we can get some goals. I think
we did tonight.
This victory will give us momentum. Yes, at Anfield, yes. But I'm just worried. I'm worried that we're going to see the same old defensive things and, with all the exertions of today. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, guys, you have broken a record. 1 hour and 22 minutes, the longest ever NFC Agenda podcast.
Blame Caf.
I'm going to blame Caf. I'm going to blame Salah. I'm going to blame Liam Rosinia and whoever else comes to mind. But I'm also going to say a massive thank you to both of you for joining today. Mr. Sandwich.
Thank you very much.
And JSS.
Thank you very much.
Your opinions, reflections, contemplations are welcome and considered as ever, but do remember that was the greatest Anfield European performance since Barcelona. I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone watching back on YouTube, on Spotify. I need to say the words. See, this is the reason why Jez judged you negatively. So if you're watching back on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when we're live. Subscribe, support the team, follow the team, yeah? And Double S, it really helps the algorithm if you give us a 5-star rating. World-class 5s right there. I love it. We'll catch you, hopefully, after we follow up our fantastic and wonderful performance and result over Galatasaray tonight with a Premier League win and another vital 3 points on the weekend. Come on, the Reds. You never walk alone.